We finally have super raids in Minnow. I wish it was permanent and not an event, but I need to go ahead and actually do the masteries on a ton of my champions. Hey you guys, it's Cece. Welcome back to my channel. Now when it comes to masteries and champions, I honestly think I maybe have like 2 or 3 champions actually maxed out, and that's because I actually used gems to do so, because the cost to use gems isn't that bad compared to if you have the time and energy and everything to go ahead and farm it. It is an option, but some of my champs I completely maxed out, and others have actually just been sitting and waiting to be built. So I have talked about this in the past when there are tons of events going on in game and so much to do in game. I definitely put my masteries on the back burner, but it really does make a big difference for your teams, your champions, and all of that. So I definitely need to go ahead and build some of my champions with their masteries now. I will say with this last update, this was the thing that I was most excited about. They definitely added in some good quality of life stuff, but it was the super raids for Minnow. And as I said, I wish it was something that is permanent, because having super raids just in dungeons, they've just added it into campaign. I wish we had it in the potions, and we really should have it here as well, because when you have hundreds of champions that you're essentially building, be a lot to keep up with to try to get them and their masteries all finished. So I've definitely been trying to improve my account, improve my times on dungeons, make my champions stronger, get better gear on them, get relics on them, and of course that includes getting blessing on them as well as full masteries. Now if I'm lucky enough to actually pull some soul stones for them and get the blessings done, that's amazing, but a little more out of my control versus something like masteries, because I honestly just have to go ahead and farm it to get it done. So I do want to improve some of my champions, and some I don't think I've even really started their masteries or scratched surface of their masteries. So for now, I am actually spending some time down in here. These are the champions I'm focusing on right now. Cece is almost there, not quite done. Probably could have used gems for hers, but the problem is I got her very early. I shouldn't say problem, but I got her very, very early on in my raid journey, I guess. And I didn't really have those gems that I was like, oh, do I use them? Still learning, not sure, as I get some pieces for Cece. She's close though. So at the time that I kind of got her, I was thinking like, do I use my gems on her? Do I not? I feel like I need to save my gems for energy. So now I'm at the point where I'm actually farming it, because I got too far in. And that's the thing. I do wish that when it came to masteries, if you had it partially finished or them partially built, partially done, it gave you the option like, do you want to purchase the rest scrolls? Because unfortunately it doesn't do that. So if you've started masteries and say, even if you're halfway and then you want to use your gems, it's the same amount, regardless if you have 1 scroll in there or 2 or 100 to 0. It's always the same cost. So I kind of wish that they did it that way, where it was whatever remaining was. But my issue was, by the time I was like, hey, I'll use gems on Cece, I was like, oh, I'm so far in, it doesn't make sense to do that. So she is one that I'm currently, of course, working on. Next is He-Man. Definitely want masteries on him. I do use him everywhere. I use him in all of my PvE. I use him in my PvP. And then I have Whisper. Made a video on her before. She is one of my current favorite epics. I'm using her in a ton of different places. She has the potential to do a lot of damage, so I do really like her. Sir Nick, I'm also using. I'm figuring out a clan boss team with him as well. So of course, the champ that I want full masteries on as well. And my last one is actually my campaign farmer, who is Bellower, just so I can really speed my times up and get that consistency. Because while I can get very short, like 13-second runs, it's not always 13 seconds. So I do think masteries will help there. So these are the ones that I am currently prioritizing above the rest. And again, on all of these, I could have used gems, but by the time I started building the masteries already, and I don't know, I felt like I shouldn't. But I've learned along the way, as I said, and that is part of why I always like tell people and mention, and I made videos like, you have your campaign farmer you're using a lot, makes sense for gems, things like that. But it always depends on you and your account and how you want to spend your gems, what you want to use them on. But yeah, for now, these are my 5 core champs that I'm focusing on for masteries. Next, I am going to be using some of my PvP ones. I do use Wukong quite a bit in my PvP. He actually does have full master. He is already completed. I think he was one of the first ones, because I was actually using him as my campaign farmer before I got Bellower. So he was one that I kind of maxed out completely first. So as I said, there's some champs I do have maxed, but after these guys are all done, I'll probably look into some of my other PvP champs I'm using, and then some of my other legendaries as well that I want to get done, because this times to like boost super raids on Masteries is only here for a little bit, short period of time, I definitely want to capitalize on it. With this event, there is about 2 weeks to go on it, so hope it's something they make permanent. But essentially for the next 2 weeks, I'm going to be spending a lot of time into there. So some of the other champs I need to work on is Alice. She has Olive 0. Stock the Broken, I have started, but he is not quite complete. And then my Sify, so she is also close, but not quite complete. So for her, focusing on a defense build along with a support build, and then going into some of my other wall master, like all these guys are kind of started. Sir Nicholas is also almost done. So you can see I was building on offense and defense for him. And then another one I want to do is a Valkyrie, and then along with some of my other epics aren't done either. Uugo I use, not done. Royal Guard I use, not even started. Geomancer, one of my newest ones, 0 masteries. So many of them do not have masteries. Like, this is really showing you guys how much I've not been farming my masteries. But yeah, there's tons and tons of champions that I'm using. I just haven't gotten around to being able to really build. So I genuinely think this is where I'm going to be spending so much of my time in here, is trying to finish off these masters and at least get them started. So for the champs that I am focusing on and prioritizing right now, so Bellower is offense and support, building quite a ways that I can still go for this champ. And then Whisper is actually not started, but I do have enough to get her going now, so I should probably put that in since I'm gonna be farming with her. He-Man, I think he's kind of close, he's getting there. So I have some that I've definitely, like, I started working on their masteries, but just never fully was able to finish. So these are all of the ones that I'm actually prioritizing at the moment and hoping that it's going to make a difference within pretty much like my teams everywhere I'm using them, and just improving my overall gameplay. Since I haven't done anything on Whisper, I figured we can go ahead and kind of play around and start hers at the very least. So in terms of the mastery, I want to go for her. I want to focus more on the PvE side and focus more on like the dungeons and bosses and things like that. So that's kind of the build we're going to go for. So we can get support out of here and focus on the offense and the defense. So in terms of offense, we have either attack or we have crit rate. In this scenario, I want to go for crit rate. I do want to be able to kind of play off of that. And then from there, we can do increased damage inflicted to shield buff targets. I don't want that. Increased damage inflicted by 5% when attacking with 50% HP or less. You can also go for crit damage. Now, since I went for crit rate, I'm going to go for crit damage here because I essentially just want her damage as much as I possibly can. Increases damage inflicted by 5% when attacking with full HP. So that is also one that I'm thinking of putting in for her. And then heals by 5% damage inflicted when attacking with 50% or HP or less. I think that would be nice as well to have in there, just so she can kind of do more like, I guess not really self-sustained, but kind of. Increased damage inflicted to targets with less than 40% HP by 8%. So I think this is the route I'm gonna go down versus this side. So in terms of offense, that's kind of the route I'll take. And then we're gonna go into the defense where, yes, I could do resistance, but I think I wanna just up her defense. And then what we'll do is kind of increase damage received from attacks by 5%. Same thing, kind of focus in on like this left side versus the right for her. So that's gonna be my idea going forward with Whisper. Now with Sify, I actually went to check what else I'm really looking for on her, and I'm so close to completing her. This is the one that I'm eyeing, where it increases this champion's turn meter by 20% whenever an ally hero HP drops below 25%. Now, I need 350. I'm at 324. So she's so close to being done, but this is the one that I'm planning to use for her. And then if I go over to He-Man, so he is also actually almost done getting there. I want to focus now more on the offense side of things, and I'm kind of building him more for the, I think PvE is kind of what I'm kind of focusing on versus PvP build. Now they're very similar in terms of their build, so it doesn't really make a big difference between the two that I am actually doing, but I use them in a lot of my dungeons. So as I said, this is the build. So this is going to be the next one that I'm looking at, which increases damage inflicted by 6% in arena and siege battles and 3% in all other locations for each enemy killed by this champion in battle. So wave clearing and everything, this will be really nice. So this is the one I'm gonna go ahead and actually unlock. And then I really just need one more, which I actually need 300 and something more of the scrolls. But this is the one that I'm gonna go with, which is the 50% chance of ignoring 25% of the target's defense. For skills that ignore defense, this 25% is in addition to the amount ignored by the skill. So that'll be my next one for He-Man. If you download Raid Shadow Legends using my link, I'm actually going to start you off with the free legendary champion on day 1, and then at level 10, level 20, and level 30, you'll get yourself an epic. That is 4 amazing champions that you can get just by downloading using my link. As you can see, I have a long ways to go in actually catching up to the masteries that I need to do on my champions. I've definitely fallen behind here, as you guys can see. But I want you guys, comment down below, let me know, are you going to be taking advantage of the ×2 boost that they have going on? Essentially, this super raids for Minnow. Let me know in the comments down below, and be sure that you subscribe so you don't miss out on future videos, including future champion builds. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!